Hello, my name is Laura, and I'm 21 years old. I have an important question for you. Where do you think a girl weighing 220 pounds should go? To a gym or to a runway? Listen to my story before you answer. Then you'll find out what I chose. I have always been a bit overweight. As a child, I had plump cheeks, arms, and legs. At school, I was called Piggy and Dumbo for my appearance. It was very hurtful. I kept asking my classmates to stop calling me names. But children are cruel, and they simply like to make fun of me. My only comfort were my parents, who always protected me and bought me ice cream when I cried. My parents would tell me, "Laura, you're so beautiful. You have a pretty face and a charming smile. You're kind and funny. Don't worry. You will definitely meet someone who will love you for who you are." Of course, they were right. I thought I was quite attractive myself. I also had a secret dream. Do you want to know what it was? I've wanted to perform on stage since I was a child. I dreamed of becoming a singer or an actress. I would play music and pretend I was Mariah Carey. I sang and I danced. Millions of rapt eyes gazed at me in my imagination. When I grew up a bit, I even took part in a movie audition. However, the producer told me that I wasn't what they were looking for. They needed a slender girl. I turned around and walked out of there, my head held high. They'll come crawling back to me, but it'll be too late by then. While I was waiting for offers from modeling agencies to start rolling in, I needed to satisfy my need to be in the spotlight somehow. The only compromise I found was working in a video chat. Oh, don't pretend you don't know what I mean. It's when a girl sits in front of her webcam and talks to her viewers. And interested men look at her through their computer screens, and sometimes send a little money as reward. That's how I got my regular audience. Plus, it became a good source of income. I even got a regular fan among my viewers. It was a guy with the nickname Big Stan. The name was made up, of course, but it didn't matter. I just liked texting with him. He was very attentive, and I shared my experiences with him. After a while, we became real internet friends. One day, I was hanging out at a nightclub and suddenly saw a guy. His name was Johnny. It was love at first sight. We were having fun and he asked me out. I was so happy. Could he be the man my parents promised I'd meet one day? We met a couple days later. Johnny was attentive and gallant. I liked him so much. He seemed to like me, too. We went to the movies and then to a cafe. At the end of the date, we agreed to go on a second date. I couldn't resist kissing him. When I got home, I turned on my computer and went to my page. My internet friend Big Stan was online. Then I told him about my date. He got upset and said he was jealous of this Johnny. I didn't want to upset Big Stan, but it was so nice to have guys competing for my attention. I reassured Big Stan by telling him that he would always be my best friend, and that I would never stop talking to him. He said that he would accept anything as long as I was happy. Johnny and I went on a couple more dates. After the third one, he spent the night with me. I'd never been so happy. Of course, I didn't tell Big Stan about it. I knew he'd be upset because he had feelings for me too. I began to wonder what my magical romance with Johnny would lead to. But then, suddenly, he seemed to lose all interest in me. He stopped calling. When I called him, he always said he was swamped. I didn't understand what changed, so I asked him to meet me. When we met at a cafe, he didn't even kiss me. After a moment of silence, he said, "I'm sorry, Laura, but we have to break up." I couldn't believe my ears. What? Why? Johnny said he couldn't date me because I was fat. He liked me, but he preferred slim girls. I was devastated. I stayed at home, crying and eating. Only one thing saved me from complete despair. My internet friend, Big Stan. He comforted me, and he said he never really liked Johnny anyway, and he wanted to beat him up for me. However, I forbade it, because I still liked Johnny, and I wanted him back. I decided to change myself. If I wanted Johnny back, I had to lose weight, no matter the cost. Starting tomorrow, I was going on a strict diet and joining the coolest gym. I shared my plans with Big Stan, hoping he'd support me, but he said, "You're crazy. Why would you torture yourself? You're already beautiful the way you are." However, I had to get Johnny back. How dare he dump someone as pretty as me? The next day, I threw out all the high-calorie foods from my refrigerator, and I switched to fruits and vegetables. I also went to the coolest gym. There, I met a coach called Franco. Oh, you should have seen him. Tall, slim, and with a perfect body. I'd only seen guys like that in movies. I asked Franco to make me look slim. He carefully examined me and said that he would, but only if I did everything he told me. Oh, I was ready to listen to a guy like that. Our training began. To say that it was hard is to say nothing. It was hell. Franco drilled me like I was a soldier. He never went easy on me and gave me the most difficult exercises. Every day he increased the intensity. Franco was a real sadist. After the gym, I'd crawl home and collapse. The only thing I still had the strength to do was exchange a few messages with Big Stan. I told him how hard it was for me and how sadistic of a coach Franco was. Big Stan felt sorry for me and asked me to stop torturing myself. But I had to get Johnny back, to show him what a big mistake he had made when he broke up with me. Time passed. 3 times a week, I went to the gym to be tortured by the merciless Franco. Each new training session, he made things harder and harder for me. I could barely stand the torture. A month later, I decided to look at the results of my suffering and got on the scales. But wait, is that it? I only lost a few pounds? You couldn't even tell by looking at me. Franco laughed and said I'd have to work out at least half a year to see any results. Half a year! That's where I flipped out. Johnny certainly wasn't worth all of my sufferings. At that moment, I fell out of love with that jerk for good and felt immense relief at once. On the way home, I bought a ton of tasty stuff. When I came home, I had a real feast. Oh, it was so good. Obviously, I gave up going to the gym. After so many weeks of suffering, I decided to have a little holiday. I didn't even go to the web chat. I simply ate and binge-watched TV series all day long. Did you know that the unhealthiest food is also the tastiest? I didn't even care how it would affect my health. I was just enjoying myself. One day, while I was eating my chicken and chips, there was a knock on my door. I wasn't expecting anyone, but I was curious to see who it might be. I opened the door and was surprised to find Coach Franco behind it. I asked, "What are you doing here? How'd you find me?" Franco replied that I hadn't visited the gym in 2 weeks and he began to worry about me. I told him I didn't want to work out anymore and I didn't need to lose weight either. For some reason, that made Franco happy. And he asked, "Okay, but why'd you stop appearing on the web chat?" This made me suspicious, because I hadn't told him anything about working on a web chat. Coach Franco realized that he'd made a mistake and confessed that he was Big Stan all along. What a surprise! Franco told me that he really liked curvy girls. Even though he looked impressive, he was actually quite a shy guy. That's why he often used the web chat. One day, he saw me and fell head over heels in love. But he didn't have the guts to ask me out. So he just became my internet friend. Until one day, I told him I was going to the gym. Then, he found a job in the gym that was closer to me. I asked Franco why he tormented me so much during my workouts if he loved me. Franco blushed and said that he wanted me to stop losing weight because he loved me just as I was. Can you guess what happened next? The coolest night of my life! I got the kind of guy one could only dream of. He loved me for who I was. Franco convinced me that I was truly beautiful. He wouldn't let me lose weight, and he let me do whatever I wanted. It also turned out that Franco had connections with the fashion industry. He introduced me to his agent, and I was offered a job. Now I take part in fashion shows and wear underwear for overweight girls on catwalks. Although, a bit later, I began to have some health problems. I quickly got tired, slept poorly, my heart began to hurt. The doctor said that problems would keep coming if I didn't change my lifestyle. But you know what I think? You need to sacrifice something to achieve your dream. Subscribe to the channel and press the bell button. Then, my story will help your dreams come true as well. Bye-bye!